creating curiosity by asking better questions. This is Shed Talk. Skye Kaiss. What do you know about fitness, but do you really know? Skye Kaiss. Correct? Did I get that right?
You did.
Oh man, I was like practicing here for the last 5 minutes about I gotta get that right. How I'm gonna say that. Thanks for coming on Shed Talk. This is an honor to have you, especially when you've started like Orange Theory. You've done so much in your life and the mindset that you've had to put into play. Because you were mentioning you were at 40 pounds?
240 at one point, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so okay. We're gonna go down history lane here. So 2005, I'm 23 years old, and I'm in pretty good shape. I'm coming out of engineering school, and I get the opportunity to get into the fitness industry with my uncle and my father by way of Gold's Gym franchise. So we go into this thing, sort of blind, but we understand it's a franchise, and so you kind of got your guardrails, and if all things hold true, you should be okay. And I said, we'll open up a gym. What's there really running a gym? You hire a couple of people at the front desk and maybe a manager and keep it clean. And that's it. And I'll be an engineer. Well, very quickly we realized that running a gym is a full-time endeavor that's going to take all of you. And so I gave up my engineering career to invest in the fitness industry. And so we did well with the first gym, and we opened up a second gym and a third gym, and at one point had 4 Gold's gyms.
Where were they located?
They were in Regina, Saskatchewan. And so in 2014, we're me and my family are fully into this industry. We saw that there's the boutique market starting to flourish, and so we invested in Orange Theory Fitness and started opening up a whole bunch of those in Regina, in Calgary, and Mississauga. And so the reason I'm bringing all this and how it relates to me being 240 pounds. So in 2005, I was in good shape. I get into the fitness industry and you think, hey, I'm in the gym all the time already. This is going to be great. I can work out while at work. What happens though is sort of the opposite sometimes, is that most people go to the gym, they want to turn it off. Like they want to go focus on themselves. They want to get away from work, get away from family, get away from whatever, just be alone and just focus on the gym or be around that crew, your gym crew. And when you're at work and your gym is your work, you don't really get to unplug it. So it becomes a little bit of an added stress. You're the owner of the gym. You're looking for cleanliness. You're looking, anything's broken. Members want to talk to you, and you love talking to members, but it makes an hour workout into an hour and a half, and now your whole schedule is thrown off. So what ended up happening to me, and unfortunately, obviously being in the fitness industry, I know a lot of gym owners. It happens to a lot of gym owners. They're not in the greatest shape. What happens is they stop working out, or it becomes sporadic, just like a lot of people. And so year after year, I gained 2 to 3 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds. So I started in the fitness industry. I was 190 pounds. And in 2018, I got to 240. And that was a breaking point for me. Like that was it.
And how old were you at that time?
So this is 6 years ago. So I was 36 years old.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then going up for 240 pounds. It's kind of like when you're mentioning that about it's like the shoemaker. The guy that makes shoes has the most beautiful shoes in their own, but his own shoes are terrible shoes. Or the handyman, great handyman, but his house has all the broken stuff around in the whole house. So here you are as a gym owning a gym, and you're in the worst shape of your life at that point.
Yeah.
So what was the triggering point that defining moment that actually switched you to say, wait a second, yeah, I'm in the gym industry. Yes, it's this 240 pounds, and say, how do I make that shift?
Yeah. So there's the moment that is the breaking point. Like there's a lot of things that lead up to it, right? But there's one moment that you've had enough. And so that moment was a photo. So my wife took a photo of me, and it was in an outside water park. And so I just had swim shorts on. I had my son, who was, I think, 1 at the time, beside me. And that had an impact because I'm looking at it, I'm like, this kid's going to grow up. He's going to see this picture. And this is what he sees now. And I'm already not happy with what I look like, especially naked. I'm like, man, like, I don't want to look like this. But the added emotion of like seeing your kid beside you and then looking like that, and you're like, in my mind, I'm not 240 pounds. I've never been 240 pounds in my mind. I've always been that more athletic person who's always been like, I can always go back to it. So I had this safety net in my mind that like, no matter how bad it gets, if I really want to do it, I can do it. And so unfortunately that allowed me to like go a little bit more, but seeing that picture in that time, I'm like, holy crap, that's it. I've had enough. And then I started, well, a lot of people call it fitness journey. And it's been 6 years of learning. And you'd think like a guy who's in the fitness industry would understand everything about fitness journeys. There's so much that people don't understand. And I would consider myself even still a novice today. And it's such a huge part of my life. And I'm always still learning and researching and understanding. And things are always constantly changing. So that's sort of my big picture of where I was, where I got to. In the past 6 years, I've been working towards the other side and getting back to shape. And I would say today, I am in the best shape of my life.
Wow. So on the journey side, when you said you're just learning it and you're in the fitness industry, what was that one point of what did you have to learn at that point? And you're in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And then you're making that change, but you still have the exact opposite, is that you're going to the gym, you're going to meet up with customers, clients, and all of a sudden they're going to make that 2-hour window, that 1 hour workout is going to be different. Did you have to change your mindset that way? Like, what was that changing point of the mindset? You said, okay, enough's enough. Did you have to actually go to a different gym?
You know, what I did is I started off by bringing one of the spin bikes from my gym into my house. And what started everything is I said, look, I'm going to do my workouts, my strength workouts in the gym, and I'll get to the difference between the strength and the cardio. But what I did is I got a spin bike in my house, and I said, every morning when I wake up, I'm going to go on the spin bike, and I'm going to start off with 20 minutes. And I'm going to incrementally go up as I feel comfortable every day. Very quickly, it got from 20 to 1 hour. Very quickly, faster than I thought it would. But I built the habit of waking up and going on my spin bike.
What time is that in the morning?
So it started around 7, but it incrementally started becoming earlier and earlier and earlier. And in the beginning, it was an act of will. And my motivation of looking at that picture was part of what drove me. So the motivation to me is like a spark plug. It's not fuel, it's spark plug. You got to use it to start something, but it can't be the fuel because it doesn't last that long. So the motivation got me going on it, and very quickly it went from something I had to do to something I wanted to do to something I absolutely needed to do.
Was there a turning point at one point that you said, hey, this feels pretty good?
I mean, there's a combination of things. First, when you finish exercise, your body chemically is releasing endorphins. You're feeling good about it. You've accomplished something, which humans always feel good when they accomplish something, especially when it's hard. My kids, because the spin bike was in my living room, my kids were watching me. And there's a big sense of joy that comes out of that because you know that it's impacting them. And kids tend to follow their parents. You see a lot of times obese kids, and then you look up, you see their parents behind them, and they're also obese. And you're like, man, like if the parents were in shape, would the kid be in shape? you don't often see really in shape parents with obese kids or the other way around. They tend to follow their parents. So seeing my kids seeing me, brought me a little bit of joy and gave me that extra motivation. And I mean, ultimately, the biggest thing is losing the weight, right? So there's a reward, and when you start fitness, when you start a fitness journey, the cool part about it is you lose a lot of weight real quick. Now, what you don't know is that it's mostly water. But who cares? I mean, you're seeing the pounds drop, and you're like, "This is amazing! This is great! I can do this. It's only going to take me 2 months. No, it's going to take you a lot longer because it's mostly water weight. But it gives you that initial momentum and continues to push you to the point where you create that habit, And again, it becomes from something I have to do to something that I want to do to something that I need to do, and like need as in like I want it so badly that I need it.
Is there a mechanism or a life hack? So when you look at people and we call them I should have all over myself. I should have, could have, would have. I wish I would have did that. How do you get in there? And people always ask that question. Well, how do I get motivated? How do I want to have that passion and desire? Yeah, I start, but I just can't like that. You get up at 7. Now I'm assuming daylight savings times because it's not dark out, or vice versa. Did you carry the picture with you? Was there something that was a life hack that said, okay, just do every single day like this, or like is there something that like I don't say the magic potion, but that one thing that you would say give everyone say, hey, just do this one thing a day? Is there something like that?
Yeah. So I at the time when I got into fitness, I was also reading a lot. I never wasn't a big reader, and then I got into it, and then I discovered audiobooks, and I'm like, I can listen to audiobooks while on the spin bike. I can do 2 things at one time. I'm habit stacking, which is great because especially if you're busy, to be able to do 2 or 3 things at a time, you feel like holy crap, I'm getting a lot done. And so I read a lot of books about habit and how to create habit and how to make things easy for yourself. So here are some of the things that worked for me that I think are instrumental. So first of all, let's talk about motivation. You can't create motivation. You can create discipline, but motivation happens to you. And what you do with it is going to determine where you're going to end up. So motivation happens to you, then you start something, and then you need to add the fuel to it. Now, what are some of the things that you can do to maintain healthy habits, healthy discipline when it comes to fitness? So these are the ones I always recommend. In life, shit happens all the time. Stuff you can't control is going to happen to you. It's going to derail you. And so be ready for the speed bumps. And here's what I personally do, okay? The night before, I prep my clothing and my shoes and my socks. So I'm like, oh, I don't have my shorts or the one, that excuse is gone. It's already prepped, okay? The night before or the day before, I schedule it. And actually, I schedule my workouts a week in advance, but I put it in my calendar, okay? I build around that. That's the first thing I put in my calendar is when I'm going to work out during the week. And what happens is when something gets scheduled, it gets done. Much more than, some people are like, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and it's probably going to be before or after work. And so the likelihood of them doing that when it's not in their schedule is much lower than if it was. So put it in your schedule. The other one is if you want to work out for an hour, schedule it for an hour and a half. That way you're not stressed out about, holy crap, I got to finish, I got to shower, I got to go. You got a little bit of time to just unwind, relax. Or if you get a phone call 5 minutes before you start, an important phone call before you start your workout, okay, you've built that buffer so you can still complete your workout. And hey, if you get it done in an hour, then you just bought yourself an extra half an hour. Great. Okay, so buffer your workouts. The other one is whatever nutrition you have, and you better understand nutrition, whatever nutrition you want to do, whether it's the protein or pre-workouts or caffeine or water, if you like your water cold, if you like your pre-workout cold, do it the night before. Shake it up, mix it, put it in the fridge, have it ready. Because then in the morning, if you're like, I don't really feel like working out or something, I'll be like, but I've already mixed my stuff. Like, I don't want it to go to waste. So it's there. It's ready for you. Okay. The other one is tell people. So the human brain psychology is designed not to lie. As you know, as tribes, we evolved as tribes. The liars of the tribes, the tribe kicked them out. They didn't like them. So your brain, when you lie, doesn't feel good. You don't feel. That's why people have like, I don't want to lie about something. You know why? Because we're designed not to lie. So when you tell people, I'm going to do a workout tomorrow, and this is what the workout's going to be, you tend to be more successful in doing that workout. So tell as many people as you can that you're going to do the workout. It gives you extra motivation to be able to do that workout. So those are my tips.
And people will call you out all day long and say, "Oh, how was that work?" I didn't actually do it. It kind of didn't go over too well. No, you said you're going to do it and you're doing it. So yeah, those are great tips. Now, you had mentioned in that part right there, nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people say, okay, here's the workout. I'm going to go work out. Okay. How important is that nutrition? Or what would a nutritional meal be? Say from the morning, lunch, and dinner. Like, what would you say would be ideal?
I mean, we can have 5 more podcasts to talk about just that subject. To keep it simple, though, okay, it doesn't. There's so many different things out there, so many different methodologies about what to eat and how to eat it. To keep it simple for people, pick a plan, stick to your damn plan, eat as clean as you can, eat whole foods, avoid restaurants, even the healthy ones.
So
avoid them.
So I'm going to break down and go a little further. What is clean? What is a clean eating?
Yeah, so avoid canola oils, avoid seed oils like the plague.
Seed oils?
Seed oils.
What would be a seed oil? Example, sunflower?
Rapeseed or it comes from canola. Canola oil is the worst one.
And how do you cook with that? Is that just an oil?
I mean, it's an oil that's in everything. If you look at the ingredient lists of the stuff that you buy, from salad dressing, even some of the nuts that you would buy, they're all quoted in canola oil. And canola oil is one of the worst products that absolutely inflames the body. And if you want to grow old fast, keep your body inflamed.
Oh, explain that a little bit better.
Well,
like the inflaming part.
So inflammation. When you're inflamed, your body is fighting that inflammation, and it's not doing everything else it's supposed to be doing to be able to recover you, to be able to help you grow your muscle, to be able to give you the right sleep. It's fighting inflammation. It's not fighting some of the disease of the virus that's happening in your body. It's fighting that inflammation.
And canola oil does that?
Canola oil inflames your body.
Inflames it.
Yeah. So it's so heavily processed. I mean, there's a whole history of canola. I encourage people to look it up. It wasn't designed for human consumption.
As we would say, the things you know that you don't know. I had no idea about that. And that's interesting to know, canola oil. So on a food package, look for that first thing and say, what would be the top things? You pick up the package. It gives you the label of everything.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Or you tell me, what would be the first thing that you would look for not to have in that? You're just starting your fitness journey.
Yeah.
What would be the first supplement not to have in there?
Canola oil.
Canola oil.
Yeah.
So anything that has a canola oil based.
Anything. And here's the bad part. You're gonna be looking hard to find something without it, because it's in everything. It is crazy. I mean, you can't go to a restaurant that doesn't use canola oil because it's the cheapest ingredient and it tastes good.
And what's it for?
I mean, they use it for everything. I'm telling you, it is like in salad dressing. It is in desserts. They put it on our meats. They put it in everything. So we could talk about it all day. I encourage people to research it and avoid it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be doing some research on that for the canola oil because I had no clue. I'm thinking of it for white rice or brown rice. People ask that question. What about a white rice? I'm gonna have a carb between white and brown. Does it make a difference?
I mean, the incremental difference that it would make is so small versus like, avoiding canola oil. For rice, for carbs, for fats, whatever you take, ultimately, you need to fuel your body. You need to understand your macros. So fuel your body. Don't overfuel your body. Don't eat before you go to sleep because you got to understand that there's a digestive process too. When you take food in, it doesn't just go in your mouth and it's done. That's when the process starts, right? So if you want to optimize how your body takes that food and how it takes in nutrients, first of all, put in the right stuff and then do it at the right time. So don't eat and then go to bed. Don't do that. Don't mix. Don't take alcohol and go to bed. Try alcohol. I do drink. I try to take some times of the year where I block off a few months where I don't drink. And drinking alcohol and what it does, you got to understand that it's poison. And if you're taking poison, you got to understand what it's doing to your body to be able to combat that. And once you understand that, then you start to just moderate alcohol a little bit more. I don't want to speak negatively of alcohol, all negatively of alcohol, because there is some benefits. I enjoy it. People enjoy it within moderation. So it's also important to understand that. And now I'm segueing from nutrition to sleep, because what I want to talk about is what sleep is incredibly important. But let's start off with what nutrition, what you put in your mouth, what it does to sleep. So if you eat right before you go to bed, it's gonna hurt your sleep, and if it hurts your sleep, it's gonna affect your next day. If you drink, especially within a few hours of sleep, what happens is it changes your heart rate variability. I'm not sure if you've read a lot or know a lot about heart rate variability.
No. I've got my Apple Watch. I think I had to look at that. Oh, I had a resting heart rate of X amount, and then it was like, oh, okay, 50. That's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, go
so
on. Yeah.
so we know
Yeah.
about resting heart rate. Everybody does,
Yeah.
but we don't really know about is heart rate variability. So the higher your heart rate variability, the better. People are like, well, why? Well, what is heart rate variability? Heart rate variability is from one heartbeat to the next. Okay, the time that it takes for your heart to beat, if that is a very regular, regimented, if there isn't a lot of variability in your heartbeats, what that means is that your body is stressed. Your heart is like a soldier. It is marching. It is working. It is fixing something. It is attacking a poison. It's working. It's on guard. Think about when you're relaxed. You're just lounging up. You don't really care. So the higher the variability, the more relaxed your heart rate is. And from one beat to the next, it may be a little bit different. All good. It's enjoying itself. It's relaxed. The higher your heart rate variability, the more relaxed you are. If you measure your heart rate variability, okay, from one night to the next, and the only difference between those 2 nights is 1 glass of wine before you go to sleep, your heart rate variability is dramatically different. And it's crazy. You're like, I just had people are like, oh, I just drink 1 glass of wine. It's actually good for your heart. Check out what happens to your heart rate variability. And
so how do you check your heart rate variability? Is that like on a
Apple Watch,
Watch?
Samsung Watch. I wear a sleep ring.
Right.
And I love wearing a sleep ring because I love numbers. I'm very competitive. And the sleep ring gives me a score out of 100 when I wake up in the morning. So it tells me, okay, you were in bed for 8 hours, but of those 8 hours, you were only asleep for 6 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, well, your efficiency is low. And of those 6 hours and 30 minutes of sleep, here's how much REM sleep you got, which is like everything. Here's how much deep sleep you got, and here's how much light sleep you got. And based on those percentages and time, it's going to give you a score out of 100. And if you wake up with a score of 90 out of 100, you know, sometimes when you wake up and you're like, I'm the king of the world. I'm feeling great. You're singing, you're ready. You can run a marathon. You probably have a like sleep score of 95. And those days where you wake up, you're a little grumpy, you know, you're kind of irritable, you feel tired. You got a sleep score probably like, you know, 60 or lower. So measuring that and protecting your sleep is so important. I call it protect your sleep. Understand that your sleep needs certain boundaries. You need to have a certain amount of time. It can't be too hot. Don't put a lot of light. Don't bring in a lot of light into your eyeballs right before you go to sleep, because that's also going to hurt your sleep. So protect the things around what makes your sleep good, and then you'll have a better sleep. And if you have a better sleep, your next day is going to be amazing.
So how do you so what would be your REM, so if you do an average of say 8 hours of sleep, how much REM should you have? I know your score's like 95%, but is there a certain percentage, like the 80-20 rule? 80% is 80% is done by 20% of your sleep.
I
Kind
think
of like business.
the numbers, and I'm not a sleep expert by any means. I'm just getting into this. So I think it's 20, 60, 20. So 20% deep sleep, and deep sleep is front loaded. So when you go to sleep, that's when deep sleep happens. Okay. Then you get your light sleep periods, and then before you wake up, you know, that hour or two, that's when the majority of REM sleep happens.
Which is like a percentage of what, like say 13 minutes? What, or is it 25?
So 20% of your sleep. So the optimal numbers, 20. As far as I understand it, and again, I'm a novice to this, is 20% deep sleep, 60% light sleep, 20% REM sleep.
Is there a way to get more into the REM sleep? Like obviously you're meant to stay into the box, so make sure, okay, watch your light. Obviously don't drink. Okay, keep everything. Don't eat.
Yeah.
Okay, keep
the biggest one is regularity. So you'll find that if I'm traveling, especially if I change time zones, changing where I'm sleeping, my pillows, just the normal routine of things, my REM sleep gets destroyed. I go to like 6%, 7%. So the more regular you can. So sleep. If you sleep at 9, be in bed by 9. So, you know, some people are like, well, I'm still getting my 8 hours. Well, no, you're messing up your circadian rhythm. That's going to destroy your REM sleep. So the more regular you can be with your sleep, the more routine you can be, the more you're going to protect that and the better outcome you're going to have.
So when did you start noticing this? As you're saying you're a novice to this.
Yeah.
When did you realize it was actually important to actually look at that?
You know, I have a friend. His name is Mattia, and he's one of the guys I admire and led me to this lifestyle. And he gifted me an Oura ring. Well, one day he called me and goes, what's your ring size? I'm like, what do you want my ring size for? I'm going to send you something. What are you sending me? So he ended up sending me an Oura ring.
And what's an Oura ring?
So it's a ring that you wear while you can wear it all day, but I wear it while I sleep. And what it does is it's kind of like your Apple Watch or whatnot. It's got lights and sensors, and it measures all this stuff, and then it syncs with your phone and gives you your sleep score. So this is where all of this started for me. I'm like, and I love numbers. You know, I'm so data driven, and like just always want to get better. That it became a source of competition for me against me, and now there's a competitive element to my sleep, and now I want to sleep better. Just I want to see if I can get 100, you know? So.
Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden there's that motivation, there's that spark, and it's like, okay, I got to make that even better and better and better.
Exactly.
Now, being a part and going into, and changing the topic a little bit here, because owning a bunch of gyms, okay, and then with, Gold's Gym, and going into Orange Theory, as in you recognize the actual, what do they call it, boutique gyms? Because that must have really, at that point, really took off, because you saw Orange Theory and they just went phew, phew. And then what we call it, CrossFitters.
Yep.
The CrossFit gyms went crazy as well. They're all popping up left, right, and center before what we call box gyms were popular. How did you recognize that trend?
Yeah, so being in the fitness industry, and being Canadian, we're always kind of second fiddle to the U.S. So you see stuff happening usually in Texas, Florida, or California, and it starts to grow from there. And then we notice, and we have the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm going to bring that over here. There's a friend of mine, Dave Hardy, who owned World Health and then Club Fit and then World Health. He got into Orange Theory Fitness and he became the master franchisor in Canada. And he said, Skye, I'm getting into this, and I'm going to be selling franchises, and I think you and your family would be great for this. And I'm like, Dave, you've been a mentor of mine. I look up to you. I mean, you're getting into it. It's going to be a home run. I need to get into it. So that's sort of how that happened. But I mean, you're always looking and you're always seeing, and you saw it. It's going crazy in the States. You're like, well, it's got something. There's the reason. So let's bring it over.
That is awesome. You know what, Skye, thank you very much. You know what, there's so much more we're going to talk about and get into the other side of the fitness side of the nutrition. Like you said, this could be another 5 more podcasts and getting in there. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on board with Shed Talk, the things you know that you don't know. And thanks for joining us today. But we're definitely going to be talking some more. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Now you know. Shed Talk.